Hi there, welcome to this build of a 20-inch wingspan rubber powered Noctule. Now this is a really quirky design that appeared in Aeromodeler in 1988, and it's a design by Peter Fisher, who ran performance kits in the UK. Now the plans are here on the wall, and if you want a copy of those you can download them from AutoZone, and there's a link in the description below this video. Now you can see we're at a pretty advanced stage with this now. The fuselage isn't actually glued on, and as you can see the fin is just held on with a little bit of tape, but I did that so you can just get an idea of what the model looks like. It's just a little bit of fun, a little rubber powered model. Now if I put the wings safely away, take off the fin. Now before we go any further, I've got a confession to make. I actually built the fuselage in the last video, and when I was editing the video, the fuselage build video, I realised I'd made a mistake looking at it. And if we see the where the window is for the canopy, I'd originally done that nose section ending square here, and you could possibly see the line where I've added a couple of pieces of balsa just to bring that angle back similar to the roof of the cabin. So I think that's one of the beauties of working with balsa. It's so forgiving. If you make a mistake, you can just glue a piece in, sand it to fit. There's no need to start again or use filler. Balsa is really nice to work with. So anyway, and I think that looks so much better. I was looking at it as I was editing the video and I thought, something not right there, and I had to look at the plans and realised what I'd done wrong. So I've corrected a mistake. What we're going to do now, I did think that in this video we might be covering the fuselage and getting it ready to stick onto the model, but I think probably more importantly I should be making up the rubber motor. So I've got some square balsa. I think this is about, is it 1 inch or 3/4? It's 3/4 square, and I'm just going to cut a piece off to make a nose block, and I've got a Gwillo's 6-inch prop and one of their little nose buttons as well, and I've got some rubber around somewhere. So I think that's what we're going to do. I'd rather be messing about, seeing how we can get the motor to fit, getting the pegs sorted and everything while it's not on the model itself. It just seems a recipe to do some damage to the wings. So first thing I'll do is I'll get this cut up and make a nose block. Right, I've taken the plan and side elevation off the plans. I've just cut those out and I've drawn those onto a block of balsa. So we've got the sides, both sides, we've got the top and the bottom, and now I can identify what is excess balsa that needs to come off. So we're going to cut all this off, and then we're going to shape the corners. I've also marked where the center hole is, and I'm going to be using this Gwillo's nose button. So I still need to drill that bigger, but at least I wanted to get that in to start with. And we can see that will fit onto there. Is that the right way? Yes, that's the right way. So it's like that. So I will get on now and shape this up, and then we'll have a look. Right, I'm just pulling together now the bits that I need to make this rubber motor. I've got my nose block. That's all sanded up and fits in quite nicely. A little bit fiddly holding it and sanding it, but I think that looks quite a nice job. And we've got the nose button that fits nice and snug in there like that. We've got some 18 gauge wire which will go in there down to the rubber motor. What I need to do is I need to put a hook on the back of that, and then I need to put it through my prop. I can do that and just bend it over. Now I'm not going to show you how to put the hook on the back of there. If you want to know, have a look in the description below, and there's a link to a video by, I think it's Max Flight. He does a really good video showing how to do it. if I was to show you, I would just be going through step by step, copying what he does. So far better to see it from him. So I need to bend that up, that's right. I've got a 2mm piece of carbon rod, which is going to be my peg in the back of there. I'm going to put a blob of epoxy on the one end so it won't pull out that way, and on the other end, once it's in, I'll put a little bit of elastic on just to try and secure it so it doesn't come out. Now, rather than just trying to loop the rubber on the back of that peg, I'm going to make a bobbin. Now, I could just cut a piece of aluminium. This is, I can't remember what size it is. It's 6mm aluminium tube with a really thin wall. Rather than just using a piece of tube which the rubber could just slide off, I'm going to cut this and flare the ends, and I'll show you how I'm going to flare the ends. So I'm just going to cut it a length just slightly too long to fit in there at its unflared length, and then once we've flared it, it'll fit nicely. Now, once we've done that, we're going to braid this rubber. I need to put it in a plastic bag first, give it a bit of lubrication, and then we'll braid it. So I will cut off that little bit of tube, and then I'll show you how to flare the ends. Right, well, there's my little bit of aluminium tube, and you can see it's just too big really to fit in there. Well, it does just about, but it'll be a really awkward fit trying to get that in. And as I said, the rubber could come off the end. So what we're going to do is we're just going to flare that and make it into a little bit of a bobbin. Now, the first thing we need is I've got a big screw here, and I think this has got a 6mm shank, or is it a 5.5? Oh no, sorry, it's a 4.5mm shank. So it'll just fit in there nicely like that. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in a hole in this aluminium plate like that. I'm then going to put a piece of wood behind it to allow the screw to come through, and we're going to tighten that up in the vise, and you'll see that the screw head here will flare that piece of pipe. I'll go and get it set up and we'll have a look in the vise. Okay, so I've got my aluminium, and I will put that together like I showed you. Just open the vise. I'm going to put a piece of wood with a big hole on the back for that screw to go into, like that, and then we're going to tighten that in the vise. So hopefully you can see how that is set up, and let me just zoom in a little bit more, and we can now flare the end of that pipe. There we go. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the piece of tubing around and set it up exactly the same way, and then we can do the other side. Now let's... Am I going to drop this? Ah, there we go. I need 3 hands. There we go. Right. And now we can just flare this other end. Brilliant. Right. Now we've got some sharp edges on that we need to get rid of, but we'll put this on the bench, or I'll tell you what, there it is. You can see I'm going to sand off those sharp edges, and then and we can think about making up the motor. Yeah, I was just trying to think what we needed to do next, but you can see what that's done there. Made a lovely little bobbin for the elastic to go around, or the rubber to go around. Right, well, I've just cleaned off all the sharp bits now, and I am really pleased with the look of that bobbin. So if we try it again, we can see that it will fit in the back of the fuselage quite nicely, and the pin will go through. And if I just lift that up, and hopefully that is in focus, you can see we've got a nice bobbin in there. And if we have a look at the rubber, then I think it's 2 pieces of rubber that will need to go around this. So it'll be, there we go, like that, and I'll just put a elastic band on to hold that in place. Right, I will get the hook bent up for the prop, and then we'll get this motor braided. Right, well I've made the nose block up now, and you can see I've got the block, I've got a piece of rubber there on the hook, and I put a loop on the top of the, just make sure that's in focus, on the top of there, so I can hook the winder into that. I don't have to disassemble it to wind it, so just thinking of trying to make that easier. So now I'm going to braid the motor. I've got, and I'm just copying the instructions that were in the build article in Aero Modeler. Okay, so we've got my 40-inch length of rubber, and we're going to put this over this clamp here. We're going to put the knot somewhere in the middle, because that's going to end up down the bottom end, hopefully. Let's just take it slightly off. And we're going to put on 60 winds, as it says in the instructions. This is a 1 to 10 winder. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now we have 60 winds on this. And what we're going to do is we're going to take these 2 ends, we're going to loop the middle around the clamp, and we're going to put this onto the hook on our prop. Now we're just going to make sure these are equally distributed along here, and then we can just let that unwind itself like that. And now we have a braided motor. Now it's a little bit longer than the fuselage, but all is not lost. It's not that much longer. So what we're going to do now is we're going to use our little bobbin that we made earlier, and we're going to put this down in the tail section, making sure that it's nice and tight within those bits. Hopefully that's in focus. And now I'm just going to put an elastic band around that really nice and tightly, just to keep it in place, because we don't want that sliding off. Could do with perhaps a slightly smaller hair band or something like that, like a dental band, but I don't have anything like that at the moment. So I would just use this rubber band. We're almost there. There we are. So now if I come round, you can hopefully, if I put my hand there, that'll focus better. That is nice and secure. So what we can do is get a towel, wipe our hands, and now we need to thread the rubber motor into the fuselage. Always good fun without a stick to do it. And I have my piece of, I'll tell you what, let's put a bigger piece of carbon fibre in just for the moment. Now I'm not sure whether the loop on, I'm making excuses already, but I'm not sure whether the loop on the back of this prop is going to be just ever so slightly too big. Right, now we've got that like that, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a makeshift stooge for winding this. So we will put okay, so there we go. Now we can see how this is going to work. We can pop our winder in like that, stretch the motor out, and let's put on 150 winds, say. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Let's not go mad. Now we can unhook. We can put the nose block in and hoist it away. I do worry this hook is a bit big and might catch inside there, but anyway. So, there we go, ready to go, and we'll see what it's like. There, look at that. And it's rebraided inside and it's kept the nose block in. I'll just zoom in and we'll have another look at that. But it's worth seeing that, and only because it looks good and works well. Okay, so let's get this set up again and we'll have another run. But I'm really pleased with that, the way the nose block has stayed in with this braided motor. Now, there we go, that was just a bit of... Yeah, that's okay, that was just the carbon fibre. Right, so I'll put 150 winds on this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, let's go to 200, 18, 19, 20. I think that was 20, might have been 190. So now we'll just take off that. Get the nose block the right way up, and are we ready to go? That worked really well. There's only one thing that I'm not happy about, and oops, I will show you. At the moment, the knot that I tied is down here and it's actually catching and stopping it from unwinding. So I'm going to rebraid this, but I'm going to make sure that the knot is in this central wider section. It's just, pull this, yeah, you see there was, you can see the knot there. And when it's right at that end, it's just catching. And as I pulled this out, it unwound a little bit more, so I'm losing power. So I'm going to rebraid this and have another go. Well, I've rebraided this now, and the knot is right in this central section here, where the fuselage is a lot wider, so it's not restricting or preventing that last little bit of energy from coming out of the rubber motor. So I am really pleased to get this done, and it's nice that it's braided and the nose block is staying in, so it won't be affecting the CG. We're not having it lolling out the front. So it's been a really good exercise to get this motor done today. One thing I should say is earlier when I was making the bobbin, and the screw I used was actually a big long screw that I'd just cut off and just left the tapered sort of head shank bit that I was using as a flaring tool. So it wasn't a short screw. I didn't actually say that, but you could see that anyway, but I thought I'd just make the point. As far as prop size, it might benefit, or it probably would benefit from a slightly bigger prop, but I'll try it with this one for now. I may have ground clearance issues if I do put a bigger prop on, but it's certainly going to be good for the maiden flight and just trimming it out and seeing what it's like. And at the end of the day, it's only a little bit of fun. It's not something that we're going to win competitions with. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed seeing this motor made up, the nose block and braided, and I hope you'll come back and see how we get on in the next video, where I think we are going to have to be covering this now, and we're almost on that home stretch where we can get this Noctule finished. So anyway, thanks very much for watching.